Ladies and I will just announce. Ladies and gentlemen, so we will start this panel, but also I want to inform you. So something is very important that we did not actually mention, I realized. You have your badges. On your badges you have the QR codes, which are scannable, where you will get a map of both panels. Our second panel, in parallel this afternoon, actually already now, is taking place on the second floor. If you go straight up there is a water panel as well, and the QR code has a map. It will have the pictures as well, so that's maybe more exciting as of tonight. But also you have agenda, and you will have each panel's presentations following the event as well. So please make sure. We are maybe slightly more technologically advanced than usual here, but I encourage you to make sure that you know the plan of the day, and then you will see actually the both panels happening. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Does he have headphones? Or? Yes. Tell me when I can start.
It's time you can invite speakers and we can start. Yes, you can invite. It's already time.
Yeah, should I go sit already or?
First, you want everybody.
No, it's okay.
Please.
No, because I was going to introduce him at the end.
Yes. You're saying like everybody was saying the critical raw material session.
Okay. All right. I think it's time to start the next session. This is on shaping the EU Central Asia cooperation on critical raw material. If we can make sure everybody comes in, and I know we have a lot of shy people in the back. You're welcome to move forward. Akmal, other people, I see you in the back. Please come closer so we can see you or you can listen better. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Enrico Pinali. I am the regional head for private sector development for the Asian Development Bank. Some of you know me because you've seen me in Uzbekistan in the last 4 years in the local office, and now I was tasked to cover 10 countries, so I come and go, but I'm happy to be here today, and I thank the organizer, Oybek, and his team for inviting me to moderate this session. I would like to just give a small introduction before I call our speakers on the subject of this panel. I think the development of robust and competitive supply chain for critical minerals and clean energy transition and technology, enhancing the energy security in the region by diversifying the sources of key material input and technologies necessary for an affordable, resilient, sustainable energy transition. Now, Central Asia can be the motor of the global energy transition to its participation in the international value chain. You saw the session before was exactly about the supply chain. And also you can do that while still advancing the progress to achieve the sustainable development goals. Uzbekistan in particular is well placed to become a critical mineral supplier and a clean energy technology manufacturing leader, given its geological endowment and the strong manufacturing base. And this will help improving the integration in the global supply chain and to create quality labor force. So the projected unprecedented and time-bound growth of demand for minerals, materials, and renewable energy equipment globally creates substantial opportunities for low carbon growth, domestic revenue mobilization, job creation, and just an equitable transition. To discuss this topic of shaping the EU and Central Asia cooperation in critical raw material, we have the following esteemed panel. Let me first introduce our Excellency Deputy Minister of Mining, Industry and Geology of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Ural Yusupov Sadulayevich. Please come to my left. Next to him, I would like to invite Eugene Antonov. He's the first Deputy CEO of Navoi Mining and Metallurgical Combinat. Then you've seen him before today, but I would like to invite him again to the podium, Mr. Henry Kololei, Hoare Class Advisor, Director General for International Partnership. And then we have Mr. Peter Kovacs, Head of Unit, Industry, Goods, Energy and Customs and Origin of the European Commission. Peter, over here, thank you. Also second appearance today, I think. And finally, last but not least, one of the international investors from Europe, Mr. Benoit Lemon, General Director of, I see if I can pronounce it right, Nurlikum Mining part of Orano Group. So thank you again for I realize this is the last session between, we are the last people you're going to hear before lunch. So I will try to make this discussion quite engaging, and I thank you for being here. So let's start immediately, and I'll move to my seat, which is right here. But I'll ask, first of all, the Deputy Minister the following question. As we already introduced a little bit in this session and some of the previous discussion, Uzbekistan mining sector is pivotal to its economic development, which is really driven by the rich mineral reserves. Now, you have been traditionally an exporter of this critical raw material. Do you plan now to expand the value chain to domestic manufacturing of goods based on this raw material?
Avvalambor assalomu alaykum, hurmatli mehmonlar, aziz hamkasblar. Darhaqiqat, O'zbekiston Respublikasining tog' sanoati bugungi kunda o'zining eng muhim rivojlanish pallasida desak, mubolag'a bo'lmaydi. Mana mustaqilligimizga erishganimizga 33 yil bo'lgan bo'lsa, dastlabki bosqichda albatta biz tog' sohasida xomashyoni qazib olish va uni eksport qilish bilan shug'ullangan bo'lsak, so'nggi yillarda albatta qo'shilgan qiymat zanjirini yaratish va qo'shilgan qiymatli mahsulotlar ishlab chiqarish yo'nalishiga alohida e'tibor berilyapti. Xususan misol keltiradigan bo'lsam, masalan 2018-yilda bizda o'zimizda ishlab chiqariladigan mis xomashyosining bor yo'g'i 22 ming tonnasi qayta ishlanib, qo'shilgan qiymatli mahsulot ishlab chiqarilgan. Shu bilan birga 23-yilga kelib bu ko'rsatkich 86 ming tonnaga yetkazildi. Misni qayta ishlash va qo'shimcha mahsulot, qo'shilgan qiymatli mahsulot ishlab chiqarish ko'rsatkichi. 2024-yilda 110 ming tonnaga o'zimizda ishlab chiqarilgan mis xomashyosini qayta ishlab, qo'shilgan qiymatli mahsulot ishlab chiqarish rejalarimiz bor. O'zbekiston hozirgi kunda yashil energetika, yuqori texnologiyalarni ishlab chiqarish uchun asosiy xomashyo bo'lgan litiy, grafit, mis va boshqa noyob yer elementlariga, zaxiralariga boy mamlakat hisoblanadi. Bizning bu zaxiralarimiz, bizda resurslar zaxiralardan foydalanib, ayniqsa Yevropa ittifoqi bilan hamkorlikda ularni o'zlashtirishda, qayta ishlashda, qo'shimcha qiymat zanjirlarini yaratishda albatta bu zaxiralar bizga asos bo'lib xizmat qiladi. Oxirgi 2024-yilda aynan muhim minerallarni o'zlashtirish, qayta ishlash bo'yicha yurtimizda juda katta islohotlar amalga oshirildi. Shuning natijasi o'laroq Yevropa ittifoqi, Amerika Qo'shma Shtatlari bilan muhim minerallarni o'zlashtirish, qo'shimcha qiymat zanjirini yaratish bo'yicha anglashuv memorandumlarini imzoladik. Hamkorlikning barcha yo'nalishlari bo'yicha ishlar olib borilmoqda. Yana shu bilan birgalikda hurmatli prezidentimizning tashabbuslari bilan muhim minerallarni o'zlashtirishga yana bir alohida infratuzilma, alohida me'yoriy huquqiy muhit, me'yoriy huquqiy baza yaratib berildi. Bir nechtasini ta'kidlab o'tmoqchiman. Masalan, joriy yilda hurmatli prezidentimizning qarorlari bilan muhim minerallarni o'zlashtirish, ularni qayta ishlashda tashabbuskor sifatida faoliyat ko'rsatadigan O'zbekiston texnologik metallar kombinati tashkil etildi. Bundan tashqari Janubiy Koreya bilan bizni nodir metallarni tadqiqot qilish bo'yicha katta markaz ochganmiz. Shu bilan birgalikda eng asosiy masala yaqinda joriy yilning 31-oktyabr kuni yangi tahrirdagi yer qa'ri to'g'risidagi qonun qabul qilindi. Ushbu qonun Yevropa tiklanish va taraqqiyot banki ekspertlari bilan hamkorlikda ishlab chiqilib, jahonning eng ilg'or davlatlari tajribalari, o'sha Amerika, Avstraliya yer qa'ri to'g'risidagi qonunlardagi eng yaxshi bandlar o'zimizga moslashtirilib, qonun yurtimizda shaffof mexanizmlarni ta'minlaydigan bir baza sifatida amalga oshirilmoqda. Shu bilan birgalikda yana yurtimizda qo'shilgan qiymatli mahsulotlar ishlab chiqarish muhim minerallardan, bu zanjirni kengaytirish, yashil energetika, yangi texnologiyalarga o'tish bo'yicha barcha imkoniyatlarga egamiz. Ta'kidlash joiz, Markaziy Osiyoda ushbu minerallarga, ushbu muhim minerallarga boy hudud hisoblanadi. To'g'ri, biz logistik jihatdan dengiz yo'liga to'g'ridan-to'g'ri chiqa oladigan mamlakat hisoblanmasak-da, muhtaram yurtboshimizning olib borayotgan oqilona tashqi siyosati evaziga qo'shnilarimiz bilan juda ham do'stona, o'zaro manfaatli aloqalar o'rnatilgan. Bundan tashqari xorijiy hamkorlar bilan ham o'zaro manfaatli chuqur diplomatik munosabatlar o'rnatilganligi munosabati bilan bizda logistik muammolar yechilgan desak ham bo'ladi. Logistika diversifikatsiya qilingan hozirgi paytda. Shuni so'zim yakunida aytmoqchimanki, biz O'zbekiston Respublikasida shu muhim minerallar resurslariga Yevropa ittifoqining texnologiyalari, Yevropa ittifoqining ilmiy ishlanmalari, standartlari, ekologik standartlari, ESG standartlarini joriy qilish evaziga, hamkorlikni kuchaytirish evaziga o'ylaymanki, o'zaro manfaatli ham mamlakatlarimizga o'zaro iqtisodiy barqaror rivojlanishga xizmat qiladigan yo'nalishlarni joriy etamiz deb o'ylayman. Rahmat.
Yeah, it works. Should take this out. Katar Ahmed. I think indeed I can also attest to the increase in cooperation that the ministry has had, especially with us IFIs. The example that the deputy minister said on the subsoil law that was assisted with the preparation of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It's a good example on how the government tries to introduce the best practices, not only in the usage of the land, but also in the companies, the state-owned companies that are the beneficiary of this policy, and they drive to go toward ESG standards, international standards, European standards. It's a good step in the right direction. And with that, I would like to now ask our European, I'm European too, I guess, our European colleagues, Mr. Henrik Ololei. I would like to discuss a little bit this issue, or this opportunity rather than issue of partnership. In particular, there's a lot of partnership discussion that I heard this morning on focusing on the middle corridor, the connectivity of the physical infrastructure, the ports, the railroads, the cargo terminals. Is there room, Hendrik, and potential to expand the partnership to the area of critical minerals, given the importance for Central Asia and also for global economic development?
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me in this distinguished panel. Of course, the whole topic about the critical raw materials, rare earth elements, is extremely high on the political agenda as a whole, because I think we are well aware that if we want to go ahead with the transition concerning the energy transition, concerning also the green transition, concerning the strengthening the digital solutions, then without the access, diversified access to the critical raw materials, it becomes extremely complicated. And of course, the problem or the challenge that Europe has is that it has been by far too much dependent on very few, if not to say one supplier. And in the current geopolitical context, which I think is going to get worse from today, I think we really need reliable and strong partners. And one of the regions which provides reliable and good partners is definitely Central Asia. And I think we have heard also this morning about the potential that Uzbekistan has, in particular Central Asia more generally, and also the different areas of cooperation, which also brings here a lot of businesses. So putting that all together, I mean, we do have, and as I said also earlier today, we do have our Global Gateway Strategy, and the Global Gateway Strategy as such is the framework which allows us also to develop cooperation in a number of different areas with the partner countries. And then we come, of course, to the critical raw materials, and your question was also about how to expand the partnerships. I think that we are actually doing very well. And if I look at Uzbekistan, then both the European Union and Uzbekistan have really realized that establishing a strategic partnership when it comes to the critical raw materials based on win-win concept is the best way forward in this particular domain and in this very important domain. And that's why we have established a strategic partnership. We have a memorandum of understanding, and we are also now finalizing our first roadmap, which allows us to take concrete actions forward and strengthen two things: strengthen our relationship, strengthen our partnership, giving us the more diversified access, and in particular with a country like Uzbekistan, with whom we can trust, and also with whom we can develop and widen the cooperation in this field. But it also gives a lot of opportunities for the European businesses and the European companies. Europe excels in many of those particular areas in relation to the critical raw materials. So let's say the mining processes, our companies involved in the exploration, in the geological surveys, in the geodata analysis, in the mapping are definitely world-class and are already operating in Central Asia. Our technology providers are also present, and I'm very much looking forward tomorrow to visit Al-Maliki plant also, where a number of European companies have established themselves in the context of the cooperation. So, and we have many other perspective areas, and of course what is also important is to strengthen the capacity when it comes to the adherence to the environmental, social and governance principles, which are the universal principles, are actually extremely important for the businesses, because by doing that you would also be qualifying as a supplier to the advanced markets, because the customers want to be sure that the supply chain and the value chain is in compliance with the international norms and the international framework. So all this is part of our partnership, and all this is of course strengthening this with many other things that we are undertaking. Now that comes also to the issue about the connectivity, and you were referring to the Trans-Caspian transport corridor, and to me they are basically two sides of the same coin. Because when we talk about trade, when we talk about, I would say also investment, but when we talk about transport, when we talk about connectivity, then it cannot happen without reliable transport networks and reliable transport routes. And that's why the development of the land corridor, the Trans-Caspian transport corridor, is so important in today's context, because it will help to do two things. It will help to bring goods from Central Asia to Europe, but it would also help to further integrate the Central Asian countries together, as well as foster their economic cooperation and overall regional integration, which can also be a very good tool in order to increase the capacity when it comes to trade. And that's why also when we look at the Global Gateway Strategy and what we are undertaking here, in addition to what we do, for example, in energy, water, education, health, then the two other areas which come out very clearly are the development of connectivity via the Trans-Caspian transport corridor, and of course, I would say as the newest area, the cooperation in the critical raw materials. Because when you have the potential of export of the refined and manufactured products, you need to have the transportation links. And at the same time, when you're developing the transportation links, you also need to have more locally produced products. This corridor is not meant to be a transit corridor, but the transit products are definitely those which add cargo and freight to the corridor. So we are happy to see all this now growing in a very fast pace. But of course, the main thing is that the local production in the Central Asian countries gets a boost. And here we are talking about the critical raw materials, but at the same time, I would say that there is also a potential to develop many other export potential products, including, of course, agricultural products, but also different kind of machinery and industrial products, which is also the potential that Central Asia in general has. So, so the bottom line is very much that the Trans-Caspian Transport Corridor has to have a throughput which is reliable, predictable, and affordable. And we are still away from having all that, because the prices are higher than the freight forwarders would be hoping for. The predictability still needs definitely to improve, and the reliability is also in the process of the improvement. That's why we have made last year, together with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, a study concerning the bottlenecks and the challenges in relation to the Trans-Caspian Transport Corridor, and we have identified the need for investments in the amount of 18.5 billion. We had the investors conference earlier this year, where we also very much welcomed the Uzbek delegation, who also presented its own priorities in relation to infrastructure. And of course, we have been working throughout the year, establishing also a coordination platform with all the corridor countries. And all this, of course, is in order to make the Trans-Caspian Transport Corridor a real gateway between the Central Asia and Europe. You mentioned also in the context of road and rail, which play a key role, also the ports. We know the challenges in relation to the Caspian Sea, and of course we need to make sure that at least on this side of the Caspian Sea, the three key ports would also be able to handle the increased cargo, in particular the increase of the containerization, but also other products, and at the same time also to make sure that the bottleneck would not become on the other side of the Caspian, because heavy lifting has to be done by the port of Alyat in Baku, and to make sure that in the end of the day the products end to the European market through South Caucasus and Turkey, or through South Caucasus and the Black Sea. So there is a lot to do, but all this is strengthening our partnership. All this is also strengthening our commitment to the region, and all this is also helping Central Asia and countries to work closer together and closer with Europe. And I would say that the critical raw materials area, as far as I can judge, is not going to be a high priority and a very important area of cooperation, not for the next years to come, but definitely for the next decades to come. And I think that that's also what the Deputy Minister said earlier, because Uzbekistan has created a good framework for this cooperation, in addition to our strategic partnership also now with the subsoil law, and of course by investing in the different capabilities in the mining sector. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Enrique. Very comprehensive overlook on the opportunities that, really the logistics part, it goes beyond critical mineral, of course, but definitely critical mineral, critical raw material export, and it's really dependent on finding those routes that can bring it to the market. That brings me to I guess, Peter, continuing a little bit from the European Commission perspective, again, if you read in the news, the European market, the European consumer, the European industry, they're heavily dependent on the inputs of critical raw material, and especially from countries like Central Asian countries, but throughout the world. I would like to a little bit understand, how, since international trade of raw materials is essential for supporting this global production, and from a policy perspective, I guess the European Union has to work toward ensuring this diversification of the supply of this critical raw material. So what kind of, from a policy perspective, what kind of trade action is the European Commission undertaking in Uzbekistan, in general in Central Asia, to support this high demand of critical raw material?
Thank you. Very, very relevant questions. Well, just first of all, the first comment I would make is dependence on the imports of critical raw materials, or dependence on imports is not necessarily a problem. What is a challenge and a concern is over-dependence and dependence on a single or a very few suppliers. That's the issue. Yes, the EU is relying on its partners on critical raw materials, although a lot is being done to improve the situation also in the EU in terms of mining, processing. The Critical Raw Materials Act, which has been enforced since May, has a lot of provisions to ensure that there is also a capacity increase in the European Union, but no doubt that the European Union will remain dependent. Again, our main issue is over-dependence, which is also an economic security issue. So, and this is why we are looking at different parts of the world, including Central Asia, which is rich in critical raw materials which are needed for the digital and energy transition. So what are we doing in Central Asia and Uzbekistan, more specifically in terms of trade action? What is the point of departure? You may have heard Minister Kudratov, who said earlier today that Uzbekistan and the government is ready to create the necessary conditions for European business to work, to operate, and to prosper in Uzbekistan. And you also heard the president of the Commission who said that the European Union is ready for mutually beneficial cooperation, and that the EU will not practice the way of business like some others, that they come, they dig, they mine the ores, and they take it away without any benefits for the local population. So local value addition, creation of jobs and prosperity in the country is a key aspect of our critical raw materials policy, and our policy in general with respect to third countries and with respect to Uzbekistan. In terms of critical raw materials, what are we doing? First is creating the rules, creating the legal conditions. And there, of course, this is again broader than only critical raw materials. We have the bilateral path, which is the enhanced partnership cooperation agreement, which, even if it doesn't include market access commitments, since it's not a free trade agreement yet, but it includes quite substantive trade-related provisions. So that will hopefully be signed next year, so we are looking forward to it. And secondly, or even firstly, I would say the WTO accession, which will also create the necessary rules for our businesses to operate and to include Uzbekistan in the big WTO family. So that is about the rule. And then the second is the concrete cooperation. And Henrik already mentioned a lot of cooperation areas where we are working together. Let me focus on the EU-Uzbekistan strategic partnership, which was signed recently. Actually, was signed by Minister Kudratov and Executive Vice President Dombrovskis in April. in Brussels. So that will be the basis for the cooperation between the EU and Uzbekistan on critical raw materials. As Henrik said, the whole framework for this partnership is the Global Gateway, which is our, I'm not sure if it's the fuel or the engine of the cooperation, or maybe both of them. What are we doing? We are finalizing actually the roadmap, which is kind of the work program for the implementation of this partnership. It will include, of course, it is about creating opportunities, establishing concrete projects, matchmaking between Uzbek and European businesses. That's an important part of the work plan and the roadmap. Mobilizing financing, it's an important and very challenging part, as you may know, and I'm sure that you know better than me, how risky mining business is, and investment in mining business is. It's a long-term investment with sometimes uncertain results, and so we have to mobilize financing. We are investing in research and innovation, capacity building in the framework of Global Gateway, ESG standards. Of course, we want to show it, and I think it's pretty obvious that having the right environmental, social and governance standards will actually benefit the local economy and the local society, and that it is in the interest of the Uzbek people as well, or at least even more than of the investors. Then the second layer is the plurilateral or multilateral cooperation, and I would like to mention the Mineral Security Partnership Forum, of which Uzbekistan is a founding member, and what it is about? It is a multilateral initiative with developed countries and countries which need critical raw materials, and those countries which actually can offer critical raw materials. So this is a kind of a club of these countries, and a club of like-minded countries, those countries which are ready to work together based on high ESG standards. So we are working together with Uzbekistan on concrete projects which may be financed by multiple of countries, from the US to EU member states, to Australia, to Canada, to Norway, etc. And on the other hand, we are shaping the critical raw materials policies of the future, and this is also an extremely important aspect, and we would like Uzbekistan to take an active and even proactive part in this work. So the real work is ahead of us, but we have a good plan, and I think that if we both deliver on our commitments, then we can make some good progress. Of course, it will remain a challenge to involve businesses, industry. As I said, it's a risky business, but still we think that this is the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Peter. And I'm conscious of time, but we have it's time for us to look at the private sector, the investors. So I would like asking, of course, our participant to, I don't want to cut off the time for you, but I also want to leave some time for lunch for all of you. So if we can keep your statement to some extent short, but I'm really interested to hear actually the experience of Orano, which has been present since 2019 in the country, and they created a joint venture and has already given employment to about 90 people already. So I would like, Benoit, if you can guide us through your experience as an European investors in investing in the mining sector in this country? What have you learned so far about doing business here?
Hello everybody. Yes, I will give you a more ground experience on the feedback. So me, as a foreign investor in mining industry, I see three big strengths to be in Uzbekistan. The first one, it has been said many times today, it's this strategic vision that Uzbekistan has at the end of the country. I mean, it's very clear, there is a clear objective, and this is declined into production objective for us, and this is very, very present, very strong, and there is a very high commitment when you go to the Ministry of Investment, when you go to the Ministry of Mines, you can feel that. And this is very important for an investor to feel this, to feel that you are in something which is really important for the country. Maybe I will say something which is maybe not so nice on this topic. There is still a little bit of improvement to do. It's when you go, of course, when you are at the high level of the government, it's perfectly clear. But when you go a little bit more deeper on the administration level, on a day-to-day management, and it has been said this morning as well in another talk, this is still not so present. So there is improvement to be done, I think. So this is the first point, this strategic vision at the end of the country is really key. The second one is it's the country by itself, Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan has a long history. You can, when you travel within the country, you can see it. It's a country with a long history. And when you come to industry, and especially to mining industry, there is a strong mining industry in Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is now number 5 in the world for uranium production. They are part of a club of the producer of gold of 100 tons per year of production. It's not so many countries in the world who can do that. It's maybe 10 of them, no more. So when you are talking about mining industry, Uzbekistan, they know what they are talking about. And you have a very high level geologist, chemist. You find a lot of knowledge. Once again, if you go into detail in that, there is areas of improvement. The mining industry has been organized as a combine, I would say. And so for an investor, it's not so always easy to find the right subcontractors or things like that. So there is a big challenge here for the country, I think, to develop this industry around the mining. And it will bring a lot of employment and many benefits for the country, I'm sure. But it will take a little bit of time because it is not the way it is organized today. And the third point, which is also a big strength for Uzbekistan, but it's Uzbek people. As I say, people, you can find people, well-trained people in all technical skills. And also the people who have recruited in the joint venture, they really want to learn, we have trained people to all the safety standards, ESG standards, all around what is digitalization for geology, and people, they really enthusiastic and they really push forward, and this is really important. Alors, one way as well on this, one area of improvement is people are still not completely, how can I say, ready for change management, to be able to manage a team in a changing world. You know, on this, it will come, because when I see how people are enthusiastic in their day-to-day job, it will come as well. But it's also an area of improvement. So to summarize, I mean, I really believe in Uzbekistan for mining investment. And well, for our project, it's a little bit early to say to talk, because we are right now in the last phase of the discussion before the final investment decision. We are in sport, we call that the money time. So so it's a little bit early to speak, but I'm very confident, and I'm sure if there is a new session next year of these economic days, I'm sure I will be able to announce that this project is a full success.
Thanks, Benoit. Very insightful, and yeah, we look forward to hear your progress next year. Assuming Pierre-Paul will have another of this event next year, I hope. Last but not least, Eugene, you've been patiently waiting, but I also wanted to, I think it's worthwhile listening to your story. Navoi Mining is a natural champion, and on October 10 this year, you issue your first Eurobond at the London Stock Exchange. And that was a very impressive, oversubscribed $1 billion issuance. So how was your interaction with the European investor? And what do you think were the key ingredients behind your successful issuance? And since we've been on the panel together before in other forum, I understand you have a nice presentation, a couple of slides that are actually are very illustrative of your work. So I will kindly ask if we can put those slides up, because I think they're very useful to show the magnitude and the impressive work that your company is doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Enrico. So indeed, last but not least, as my colleague Mr. Yusupov has mentioned, mining industry is one of the key industries in Uzbekistan. And there are lots of achievements, and yet there is still lots of potential to develop it further. And Navoi Mining Company is actually the crown's jewel of Uzbekistan, not only in terms of mining industry, but for the country in general. We are the largest employer, we're the largest taxpayer, we're the largest employer of women in the country. So anything that starts with the largest, it's about us. So I'd like to give some context about the company for those who may not know. We are not only a national champion, but we're also a top 4 gold producer globally. And up until recently, very little was known globally about the company. And we're trying to change that. As Uzbekistan is going through a number of structural reforms, so does the company. And we're at the forefront of these changes. The company has been in operations for over 50 years, has a long history. And a few years ago, it has started its transformation. For example, we divested of non-core assets such as uranium and other, and now we purely are focusing on gold mining. And we're known for being one of the lowest cost gold producer globally. And in terms of our resource base, which is very important for any mining company, we also stand number 2 globally compared to our peers. We have a very extensive resource base with the total size of resources reaching 150 million ounces of gold, which is extremely high, which gives us over 50 years of continuous life of mine going forward. And also, we're a very profitable company. Our EBITDA margin is around 60%, which is also very substantial by any standards. You know, gold price is something that we cannot control, but what we can control is our cost, and we're doing a lot in that respect. Our company, our team to keep the costs down so that we're very comfortable when the gold price is at all record high currently, but also comfortable when it's if it as we know, gold is going through cycles, so we prepared for any cycle. So this is just a little context. We're a full cycle production company. All of our operating facilities are in Uzbekistan. We operate 12 large mine sites and 9 processing facilities. And this year, we're actually gonna, for the first time in our history, our production will exceed 3 million ounces of annual production. It's a very substantial gold production amount. And clearly, we play a very important role in the economy in Uzbekistan. For example, we contribute to almost 17% of the country's budget and about 6.3% of the GDP. So a very significant player, national champion, and we have ambitions to become a regional champion and a truly global company. To answer your question, so after giving a little context who we are, yes, it was a very, very successful placement of Eurobonds. And I think it was so successful that probably it will be studied in our local business schools. And there are many reasons for that. The most important reason is that the company has very good operational and financial results, and investors like that. Also, a very strong track record, stable, with good prospects of growing production further. For example, over the last 7 years, we have grown our production by 30% and plan to continue to do so. And it is indeed a landmark achievement for the company and for the country because we set new bar. It was one of the largest issuances since over the last few years. And as you can see, you mentioned that it was oversubscribed by almost 6 times, which tells us that there is a strong interest from global investors for Uzbekistan. And what we have achieved will trigger hopefully even more interest towards Uzbekistan companies, large companies and smaller companies, and the country in general. And it's interesting to know that after the placement, our credit ratings have gone up. For example, Fitch has revised up our standalone credit profile to BB+. So lots of positive things coming out. In terms of European presence, here you can see the geographical spread of our investor base. And as we can see, there is a strong presence from Europe, from the UK, obviously, because we issued and placed our bonds on London Stock Exchange. And of course, lots of interest from the US as well. So there were lots of questions from investors about Uzbekistan, about prospects. And as I mentioned earlier, there is still lots of potential to grow our mineral resource base even further by combining our local expertise and track record and experience and bringing the best technologies, the most modern methodologies to explore, not only for gold, I'm speaking on behalf of mining industry in general, but also for other minerals, including critical minerals, which are, as we know, very important. And we believe European investors and market players and manufacturers and contractors, they see that the country is opening up for business, and also there's our Navoi mining company is open for business and open for partnership. We're interested to know what other new technologies have appeared and would be interested to learn more about it and work together with our partners from Europe.
Thanks, Eugene. Very, very inspiring. I was just thinking when you said that this would become maybe a business school case study. So I hope when my son goes to college and he will hopefully take business school and they will see this example, I'll tell him that we lived through it during our life. And yes, congratulations on all the good work. I think we went a little bit overboard. Thank you everybody for staying as we up a little bit of time for lunch. But thanks to all the panelists for the contribution, very, very inspiring. I will also remind you there's a lunch offered by Coca-Cola. So please, as soon as we finish here, we'll see you there. And I also remind our panel that we are instructed to take a group picture. So I can now conclude this session and let's get started with the group picture. And thank you again for being here.
But Tiff was not here, was it? Thank you very much. See you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will start in 2-3 minutes, so please come to take your seat. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start the next sessions now in 1 minute. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will encourage you to come into the sessions now. We have 2 sessions, one on energy, the other one is on education. So the energy session will be here. I can see people going also there in the back in the corridor to the education session. That's good. So I would like to give 30 more seconds and then I'll let Anton take over. Works? Okay.
Dear representatives of the government, dear speakers, dear guests, welcome to this session. My name is Kalin. I hope you had a good lunch and a lot of coffee. We'll try to make this session interactive, so you are, so to say, open to ask questions. We want to create here kind of link between government, between investors, between companies, to solve, so to say, our questions and to create a view for the future. I'm the representative of the company Grey Star. We are a European company, the only general contractor here in Uzbekistan. We started the project here in February. Everyone was expecting us to break the neck. Well, fortunately, we performed very well. And I have to encourage each and every company to come to Uzbekistan because we do see here the potential and we believe in the future of our business here. Our dear speakers are today representatives of the government. I'll read from the list. I'm very sorry if I will mistake maybe a bit your names. I'm not very familiar to all of you. So, Mr. Mamadimov, Deputy Minister of Energy of Uzbekistan. Thank you very much. Then we have Carol Ponte, Country Manager of Voltalia. Then we have Andy Aranitassi. It's EBRD. So these are the guys with the money. Stay close to them. Exactly. Then we have Pierre-Paul Antenisens. Thank you. And then we have Louis Skyner from Dentons, very reputable legal company. So we plan to start with a short presentation of Mr. Mamadimov, who will tell us about the current market situation and also a brief overview of the conditions and the forecast for the few years. Then I'm going to address a few questions to our participants, to our speakers, And please also consider your questions. We will have a question and answer session at the end. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be here today with a lot of guests from overseas, from institutions, banks, and from private sectors. And I would like to welcome for all to Uzbekistan. And today's session is really important because it's kind of a collaboration between the European countries and the private sector with the government together, engaging discussions and specifically in investment, energy industry. And you know, energy, when we are talking about the energy industry, in the last 2 years, we can say last couple of years, Uzbekistan become like energy hub of Central Asia. Why? Because we are committed to integrating renewable energy generation. It's, we can say, aggressively investing in renewable. So by now, the signed, committed projects already exceeds 20 gigawatts. It's a huge number, the country like Uzbekistan, like developing nation, because it's over 12 gigawatts of the wind and then nearly 9 gigawatts of the solar, utility scale solar is on the way, and we have already signed the agreements with the, by 2030, the renewable generation in the generation mix become more than 40%, including hydro. Well, and on the demand side, we are also increasing the rooftop solar, which is not included in that list, but still that area also growing. So we have right now little more than 1 gigawatts of the rooftop solar installed on the commercial, residential rooftops. And which means, so we have, as a developing nations, we have also targets, greenhouse gas emission targets by 2030 as per Paris Agreement. So we are committed to do its minimum 35%. So in order to reach that goal, so we are integrating renewable generation. Also, energy efficiency, also we are working very hard on energy efficiency reforms, specifically for the large industry and then household, how to ensure that demand side, they use energy more efficiently. So we are doing several programs with the help of the IFI institutions, ADB, World Bank, several programs are on the way. Also, we are also working on the carbon markets, carbon pricing. By the end of this year, the Minister of Finance is working closely with the World Bank. The regulatory framework will be ready. Once this regulatory framework will be ready, then a lot of participants should come here, investors come here to work on the carbon markets also. And I want to mention that the Ministry of Energy in energy industry is at least 70% of the emissions belong to us, which means there are a lot of opportunities in energy industry for carbon markets. Another big opportunities in terms of investment. So now we have already reached for the generation side, for the generation of the electric power, but now we have a lot of opportunity for the infrastructure. You know, the infrastructure is really important in order to integrate such intermittent source of energy like wind and solar. A lot of countries are struggling on that. So we need first at least 5,000 kilometers of transmission lines. This is high voltage transmission lines, 500 kV, 220 kV transmission line, substations. For next 2 years, we have to build at least 2,000 kilometers of transmission lines. Here, we need help from the IFI institutions to create a framework. Why I'm saying this? Because by law, the government must own these assets, transmission lines. But there is a ready framework, working the scheme for the other countries, the experiences. So private party come and invest like build, transfer, lease, or the EPC plus F, any type of scheme would help us for the government to ease this investment options for the infrastructure development. Automation also a key issue for integrating the renewables into grid, because without automation, it's impossible to control. And this automation should be linked with the advanced forecasting system. You never know that after 1 hour there is a cloud and then suddenly drop for the solar generation. That's very struggling for any countries. Another aspect is we need available reserve capacities. The study says you have to have at least 80% of the size of the renewables should be ready in reserve capacity, backup power on site, in order to properly integrate renewable into this network. So which means we have to have a lot of reserve capacities. In terms of this, we already signed more than 2,000 megawatt of battery storage systems, which is the capacity size more than 400 megawatt hours capacity, because each of them are 2-hour, 2-cycle period. So we have committed next 2 years, we will have at least 4,000 megawatts of the basis capacity, which really helps for the primary frequency control and then immediately fluctuations of the solar system, solar production. Another, the main aspect is capacity building, because with this, a lot of investment, a lot of new technology coming into the market, we need capacity building, we need talents, we need personnel, we need high educated teams to control these projects. So this is really important. One of the most important thing is interconnection with the neighboring countries. This is also we are started working with together with the help of the World Bank, with the help of the other institutions to come together, all Central Asian countries, to make one marketing platform for electricity trade, power trade. So it's ongoing. So we'll have ready, after a couple of years, we'll have ready market, which really helps to balance the system. Because, you know, the neighboring countries like Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan have really good potential hydropower resources, which really works out with the renewable intermittent generation from us. And then one of the biggest projects we are stepping in is the cable project. We call it cable project. It's a green corridor to Europe. It's a green corridor to deliver the green power to European nation. It's through the Caspian Sea, through Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Black Sea, through Romania to Europe. This project is already on the way, and then the leaders of 3 countries will sign in COP29, and we are really excited to